and welcome to another Doctor Who review. This time I'm reviewing episodes from Colin Baker's last series, season 23. Last time, if you were watching last week, you will have known I've done the review for parts 1 to 4. This time I'm doing the review for Trial of a Time Lord parts 5 to 8. Now, this little book, the television companion, obviously I've been reading the plot lines for the classic series off this. It does have it in one full little paragraph. I've been able to split it up. It is quite easy to split up. So I'm now going to read the next little bit, which concerns this part of the story. The Valeyard's second segment of evidence relates to the planet Thoros Beta. Here the Doctor and Peri meet their old adversary Syl and others of his mentor race, whose leader Kiv is awaiting an operation from a scientist named Crozier to transplant his brain into another body. They also form an uneasy alliance with a kidnapped Krontet warrior King Yrkanos and encounter a group of resistance fighters. Peri is eventually chosen as the recipient of Kiv's consciousness and is apparently killed in an ensuing melee sanctioned by the Time Lords to prevent Crozier's work from disturbing the balance of nature. So yeah, parts 5 to 8 of A Trial of a Time Lord. This section is probably my favourite of the sections of the series. It is one of my favourite ones overall. So yeah, we've got the plot line here, written by Philip Martin, this one. He writes this one. It's his second contribution to the series, and it's the second appearance of Syl, which we'll come back to in a minute. Second time I reviewed Syl. I've done Vengeance and Varos already. You want to see that top line for corner? Go have a look. But yeah, shameless plug. But yeah, no, it's an interesting story, interesting idea. It's interesting seeing society. Oh, all right, people say it's maybe not as well built as it could be. It was an interesting. It is a swipe, I think, of society at the time, because a lot of, in the 80s, the business nature and the yuppie culture was starting to come quite a bit at this point, and the whole business parody is there with the mentors and their commercial interests, and that the whole body transplant thing is comes out of Frankenstein. All that sort of body horror becomes quite apparent quite quickly what the plot line is going to be with that, although there's a bit to and fro about that. Yeah, Ron Jones directs this. It's not as overly lit as the last one that was done by Nick Mallet, but then again, I suppose the clinical nature of Nab Station needs that. But yes, it's a lot darker. The lighting's been turned really down, makes it really atmospheric, and it really does work. It's the first use of the paint box in Doctor Who. The Sea of Souls, I think that's what they call it. The seaside scenes at the beginning and that parts throughout the story are really good and really well done. And it's nice to see that effect. It really makes a difference with the pink sky and the pink sea and the bluish green sky. It really does work well, and they've done a good job with it. Obviously, you can see some of the lines around here, but you know it doesn't take you out of it really, and it's a nice little story. Builds up. It is where the trial segments become more relevant. I love the fact that there's elements of the story that kind of relate into the trial room, and the fact that the Doctor's going to be effectively condemned for this, and of course the shock ending of killing Peri. Let's go into the characters once more and just go into it. So you got the Doctor in this part. It's a nice turn for Colin Baker this time. It starts off with the avuncular the Doctor that we started to appreciate and love a bit more in the previous segment, previous few parts. This one is a bit more of a concern for me in regards to the story in the series, because it shows a different side which people, considering the nature of how this series worked and everything and how the production worked, which I'll go into in another review. I'll do it at the end when I'm talking about the last parts. It's interesting to see they do a parody of that, of the Doctor being too violent, the Doctor being not likeable, and they turn it on its head here. They really do turn it on its head here. And it's a shame, because I like this fact that the Doctor's trying to be scheming, but he's planning. There is undercurrents of McCoy's incarnation coming in here, but not as well done. Not as well done at all. Companions put in danger, people put in danger. It's certainly something different to what Peri expects, and it kind of puts her relationship in jeopardy a little bit. And I do It's good. Colin Baker once again doesn't put a foot wrong when he acts this, but it's interesting seeing that take of the Doctor changing here. A bit more scheming, siding with the baddies for most of it, and actually helps with the first transplant from one brain from Kiv's body himself to the other Kiv, as I call it, the brown Kiv. What was it? I think Sil makes a comment at some point about the colour and refers to it as something to do with poo or something similar like that, which is interesting. I'll come to Nabil Shaban's part again in a minute because it's actually better than Varos in some respects. But overall, I do like Colin Baker's characterization here. I do like the Doctor at this point. It's an interesting change, the way it works there. Obviously, we know why, because the Doctor's brain was flooded by that brain device, scanning device in part 5. It changes his character. You can tell he's starting to change back again. That's when it gets a little bit muddled, I suppose. But yeah, I do like this part. The character change is quite pronounced, and I quite do like that. Perry, this is probably one of the strongest Nicola Bryant performances since Caves of Androzani. She comes into her own. I like the fact that she, all right, she's a bit screamy at the beginning and runs about a bit, but the fact that she starts taking control and the relationship building up with Ikanos and that, and the way she takes control of him, and the fact that she's the spunk is coming back through again, and this time it's really working. Nicola Bryant does a brilliant job as possessed as Kiv possessed Perry at the end. That's a fantastic bit of acting, and it's just a shame she didn't get that sort of meaty acting beforehand, because she proves how good an actress she actually can be. But yeah, Perry's there. Perry's not annoying again. They are getting a little bit ratty with each other again, but I suppose under the circumstances you can understand that. There is always that undercurrent with Perry and Doctor. There is that undercurrent of being rattiness between the two of them at this point. Again, the Inquisitor's really there as a kind of ringmaster in the trial scenes. She does say at one point, "Sit down, shut up," to the Doctor because he keeps moaning and bumbling. She doesn't appreciate his puerile comments and says to him, to refrain herself and control himself a bit more, because he's been a bit with the Valyard, Statyard things are coming to head. But yeah, no, she's still there. She's still the adjudicator, but at the end of the day, she's the judge here. She's not really anything else particularly. The Valyard. This is where Michael Jaston's character comes into its own. You saw elements of it in the last, where he really wants the Doctor's head. The evidence and some of the tactics that the Valyard uses here to get the Doctor off his perch and ruffle the Doctor's feathers is really well done by Michael Jaston. This viciousness and this forthright, this is what you're wrong, this is why you'll need to be killed, and this is why you need to be prosecuted here, because you're really affecting things here. If it wasn't for what you did here and how you dealt with it, this wouldn't have happened. You wouldn't have lost Perry. And that sort of characterization is really brought out well by Michael Jaston here. It really is. Then we have the guest cast. I'll come back to Brian Blessed and Ikanos. I want to go with Nabil Shaban's first with Sil. I like Sil in Varos, but I think he works better here. You still get that snivelly, saving his own scales Sil that we know, but he's there for a few comedy elements in this one. One of the funny splits is the bit when Kiv transfers in bodies and he says, "I want to be the first person he sees," and Kiv goes, "Oh, a bit scary." I love the running jokes, the fact he thinks Perry's repulsive, and makes a comment when Kiv gets changed into Perry's body. You could have picked a prettier one, which I thought was ironic. I love that characterization. I love that whole character of Sil, and it's in there's no parts that the Shabbat doesn't do justice here on here, and it's a great turn. It's a great part. Then we've got Christopher Ryan in his first Doctor Who appearance. He appears again later in Sontaran and Stratagem story in the 10th Doctor's era, using a similar voice to what he does here. Now we have Kiv, played very well by Christopher Ryan, but you can see technically where the actors are who are full height and don't really fit into the costume properly. And you can see the actors who don't fit full height, like Nabil Shaban. Nabil Shaban's disabled. He fits in that suit. That's why his tail wiggles and the others don't. It's an interesting design point. But it's all. But you never see him being picked up really. And if you do, it's in a very cut way, so you don't see his legs. But it's a great little turn from Christopher Ryan. It works very well. This business brain, who seems to be tormented a little bit here, and I do like the characterization he does. It works very well with Syl, this kind of mental thing, and Syl being very toady towards him. I do love it. I do like it. Patrick Reichart, on the other hand, playing Crozier, I think he just turned up. I mean, he's a great actor and over that, but it sounds like he just turned up and said the lines. There is one element I do like, the nonchalant nature of Crozier I do like, and that's the bit where Kiv's just had his brain transplanted into his brown Kiv body, as I call it, and he's about to have a cup of coffee. He's drinking the cup of coffee. Kiv goes into cardiac arrest, and he actually finishes his last sip of coffee before he actually starts helping him out. It's kind of like, well, I'll finish my coffee before I help you and all this, and he's a bit melodramatic. He just seems like he's phoning it in though, just a little bit. You've then got Matrona Carney, played by Alibi Parsons. Nice little mini role. Doesn't really do much. I like the fact that she's there as a kind of, I'm the matron, I'm the leader of all the girl servants. You will do what I say. She is the assistant to Crozier. That little sequence with Perry when she becomes a servant and gets found out by the doctor. That's a nice little touch from Matrona there. You've got Frax, played by Trevor Laird, who obviously comes back later as Martha's father in series 3 of the New Who. But this is his first appearance in Doctor Who. He's basically a guard with a superiority complex. That's all he is. He's a guard with a superiority complex. That's all really the character is. Dorf, or the Koza, as they call it in the credits, by Thomas Branch. Very difficult because the guy's got teeth in. You can't really hear him half the time. It was enlightening. I actually watched this with subtitles this time round because it was quite a wet afternoon when I was watching it, and I had the window open because it was bloody warm in the house. But when I was watching it, I put the subtitles on because I didn't want to have it too loud for the neighbours and things like that. So I put the subtitles on, and actually you can understand a little bit better when you have the subtitles on what he's saying sometimes, because it's a little bit muffled about what he's saying. And then we have Richard Henry, who plays the mentor, the old mentor that's sitting there in the experiment chambers, in the science chambers in part 8, and he's basically there for comic relief, and it works well. Comic relief for the fact that Brian Blessed is playing King Ikanos, the loud voice. You see both elements of Brian Blessed's acting chops here. He is the standout guest character of this story, of the Matrix segments. The nuances of that character, he's so alien, but he's also playing on his Flash Gordon character, and the loudness of that. But he's also got the nuances of Brian Blessed that we knew before. There are times where he'll turn it down and be very quiet and very mellow, and this alienness coming through with the whistling and the alien language and things like that. And then he'll go loud and shout and all the usual stuff that everybody knows Brian Blessed for now. The character's a bit one-dimensional, but Brian Blessed turns it and makes it something interesting and fun, and is the highlight of the Matrix segments in Forest Beta, and really does make the difference for the story in that respect, and certainly is the reason why I come back, is for his performance. Some people don't like it. I think it's just right, and it certainly lifts the story, and I think it is one of the better bits of the writing by Philip Martin here. I know I said Syl's better here than he is in Varos, but it's not as good as Varos. In that respect, it's still within the same range in my scoring, but it's not the best of them. It's not my favourite writing he did. I prefer Varos to this. The allegory doesn't work as well this time. The allegory last time of Varus was obviously all the situation with allegory on video nasties and things like that, which obviously has become more meta as it's gone on. With reality TV and that. This one is more a parody of its time. It really doesn't have any modern relevance at the moment with business and things like that. So it doesn't work as well. The writing though of killing Perry, that's played well by all concerned, and it really gives attention. And when I first saw that, and I first saw Trial of a Time Lord, was it? It's not quite 20 years ago, about 15 years ago, I think I got the VHS originally. And when I saw that, as far as I was concerned, there was 3 companions that died in the series, up in the classic series. You had Katarina, Sarah Kingdom, and Adric. Then Perry dies, and I'm going, hang on a minute, all my reference books say she doesn't die. What's happened? Whoa, 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 whoa. And I was looking through it and trying to find it. And of course, you find out later on that's not the case. But at that point, you can see why it was such a punch, because I got that punch. Even though I had some foreknowledge of the series, I got that punch going, hang on a minute, there's something wrong here. Have they missed something? And that immediacy still hits me now when I watch it again, all those years later after watching it for the first time. And remember, I didn't see this live. I could have potentially seen it live. It may be a bit violent for me at 3 years old, but I could have seen it live. I could have seen it as it came out for me. When I say live, I mean as broadcast. Obviously, it wasn't live, it was recorded. But because of that, it kind of lifts up the segment and it makes it one of my favourite segments. I wouldn't say it is doable of 4 TARDISes out of 5, but it is a better 3.5 TARDISes out of 5 than the last part. And that's where I think it sits. Again, you're not going to get how that sits up with the rest of the stories. I'm going to do that as an average for the whole of the trial once all of the reviews are done. Next time, I look at Terror of the Vervoids, and you might get a little bit of it on 13 or 14 as well. Haven't quite decided. The plan was to do 9 through to 14 next. I might split it up. These reviews are long enough as they are. I'm just noticing that when I'm recording it. So yeah, you might get 2 more actually. You might get an extra video than I wasn't expecting to record. And I've got another review to do as well, apart from this, for the anniversary itself. But yes, if you like this video, don't forget to like it and share it with the hashtag Teamstructor. The whole series of reviews is up on the top right-hand corner there. My finger is completely wrong. There we are. No, that's wrong. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, that's it. That's better. I was going completely backwards there. Up there. Up there. Up there. That will do. Could not get that finger right then. That doesn't look right. Anyway, somewhere up there anyway, right, okay. Yeah, so we'll play this up there. If you like the video, share it with hashtag Teamstructor, as I say. Comment down below. Tell me what you think of 5 to 8 of Trial of the Time Lord. Tell me what you think of the other Trial of the Time Lord, the rest of the Time Lord as well. I will take comments from all the videos, of course, and have a look at them. But that's it for now. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. If you like this channel as a whole, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the notifications bell so you know when a new video comes out. A new video does come out, usually, general rule, 4 PM GMT on a Sunday. I am back next time with parts 9 to 12. Until then, or maybe 9 to 14, I haven't decided yet. Until then, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you later.